Om. 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 Get out our chanting sheet and we will see how you do. Just do your best to do it straight on through. Do you get one? All right. All of us together. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapyat Sarvam Trilokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva bandhuscha sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vedyagravinam Tvameva Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Jai Guru. And now the Shanti mantra. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanam Punatu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Pretty good. You guys are getting it. So, what verse are we on tonight? Is it 13?
Yes, that's right.
Yes. So before we start, a little bit, by the way, do you two know Puneet?
Hi.
Maya, Paulo,
No.
and you met Liam. So anyway, and Puneet is Soundari is, well, she's his better half.
That's true.
So what we worked on last week, a difficult concept for many Westerners, even people who've done some beginning practices in Buddhism. This idea that the phenomenal world is not as concrete or as solid as we think it is. In many Buddhist practices, you start off with the notion of impermanence. But Vedanta takes it much differently, goes much deeper. Shankara in this text addresses three questions. Who am I? What is this world? And how has it come about? Those are the three big questions. So, Koham, who am I? When I do the practice we've been working on of subject-object discrimination, who sees the paper cup?
I do.
Are you a paper cup?
No.
All right. And then we worked a lot last week on the body. When you were a child, you had a little body. Your body changed as you went through adolescence. It changed again through your maturity. But you have been the knower, the witness of the changes in the body. Take a deep breath. Do you not know the sensations in the body? Same way you know the cups. And we went through the Pancha Karanam, the fivefold division and subsequent recombination of the tanmatras, the great elements. Keep it simple. The idea is this phenomenal world, including the physical body, is consciousness appearing as name and form. If you're more comfortable on the couch or a chair, help yourself.
Thank you.
Okay. So we use the idea of the dream. You are the god of your dream. So in the dream, your one unified mind, as it were, refracts, and you have a dream body, which to the dreamer seems just as real as this does right here. And it's a locus of perception. You peep out of that dream body at the dream world. Every once in a while, we get kind of like this omnipresent view in a dream. Some people have that, but most of the time, I feel like I'm in my dream body and I have a dream ego identified. I think that's me. And there are dream objects outside and dream thoughts and feelings inside. But upon awakening, I see it was my one non-dual unified mind that appeared as what we call the triputi, the triple factor, knower, knowing, and know. Is everybody clear on that? Vedanta says this is not a whole lot different. Now, if this text does nothing more than get you to start to consider that the phenomenal world comes about much like the dream state. It's accomplished its fact. Koham, who am I? I am that space of pure awareness that never changes. Don't believe me through your day in your meditation. See if you can thin out the mind. Have this radical reversal of the attentive faculty. Notice the knower. Now, mind you, in meditation, you're never going to go, oh, there's the self going by. No. Who are you? It is like trying to see your eyes. It is like trying to taste your tongue. Yet you are not unknown. You are not unknown. And you are Swayambhu, self-existent. How do you know you are you? In the end, you find out you do not see, hear, taste, touch, smell, emote, or think yourself. Yet you are you. Well, who am I? Satchidananda Rupam. My nature, my form is existence, consciousness, and no sorrow reaches there. For now, we're going to translate Ananda as no sorrow touches me. I'm like the center of the cyclone. What about this world? Shankara gave it images like the bubbles on the ocean. So this phenomenal world is consciousness appearing as name and form. Well, he'll give us some other ones as well. But the idea is just like your mind creates name and form and it seems real, so also it's the nature of consciousness to spin all this And because of Maya, fundamental ignorance, I think it's real. Now, let's go back to the physical world a minute. Let me approach it this way. Who here has ever had a flying dream? Oh, you poor thing. You have?
Yeah.
And how did you fly in your dream?
Oh, just flying.
Yeah. Wasn't it logical? And it seemed to be according to the laws of nature of the dream? Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just because this is like a dream doesn't mean it doesn't have laws. You know, it is a cosmos. It's not a chaos. We don't wake up in the morning and find that light's now moving at 187,000 miles per second. You know, we don't all of a sudden walk outside and all the cars are going up because gravity stopped. There are physical laws. There are metaphysical laws, and probably the most important one to know is karma. Karma simply means work or action. In pop culture, you get, oh, good karma and bad karma. There's actually no such thing. It's the inevitable results of past actions coupled with intention and has a big part of it. So, Shrunahu, listen carefully. The dharma of the body is karma. That's what a body is. It acts in the world. It's like dropping a pebble into a pond, and the ripples go out and then they come back. We cannot ever escape action. As long as the body exists, it's going to act. And we can never escape the inevitable results of actions. Now, intention makes a difference. So, for example, if someone's robbing a liquor store and pulls out a knife and stabs somebody, it's pretty gnarly karma. But if you're a cardiothoracic surgeon and you take the knife and you cut open someone's chest, operate on their heart and save their life, both people stabbed, but the intention was very different. Is that clear? So, clearly understanding that we don't get away with anything in this life. We are not punished for our sins. There's no God up in the sky saying, I'm going to send affliction to you. It's nonsense. We are not punished for our sins. We are punished by our sins. If I go out drinking Friday night and get hammered, and I wake up Saturday morning sick to my stomach with a headache, no God has punished me.
Hmm.
Do you see that? So, what a yogi wants to be mindful of at the level of the body. Integrity is really important. All moral precepts essentially have ahimsa as their root. Who can tell me what ahimsa is?
Non-harm.
Non-harming. Goes both ways. Don't kick the dog and don't beat up on yourself. Oh, why did I do that? Oh, okay. You know, some of us have a voice inside that if we saw some woman saying that stuff to a child in a supermarket, we'd report her to Child Protective Services. You're a mental health professional. You ever come across clients with negative self-talk? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's ahimsa says, don't do that. That's violence. It's violence. So enough on that. But don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, don't go out for revenge, stuff like that. There's part of us, the ego, that wants to protect, defend, justify, rationalize. But whatever you're putting out, it's gonna come back. So once we clearly understand that, then we can begin to practice what's called titiksha. You guys may know that. Tell me what titiksha is.
Forbearance.
Forbearance. The capacity to endure the vicissitudes of life without the need for redress or revenge. Now, unfortunately, we have leadership in this country right now that's really keen on revenge and redress, enemies lists. But you can run, but you can't hide. They're always going to come back. So this is at the level of the body. So even though in fact it comes about like the dream body, it seems very real to us in the waking state world. So enough on that for now. So going on to verse 13, please.
Pancha prana mano buddhi rashendriya samanvitam apancha krita bhutotam sukshmangam bhoga sadhanam. The subtle body, which is the instrument of experience, is constituted of 5 pranas, the 10 organs, the mind and intellect, formed from the rudimentary elements, tanmatras, as they exist before their 5-fold division and mutual combination with one another, panchikarana.
Yes. So I didn't talk about translating this word that we had last week, the stula sharira, means the gross body. Now, this is, again, another idea where yoga differs a little bit from Western ideas. In the West, we frequently have what they call a Cartesian split, that the mind and the body are different things. In yoga, we say that the mind-body complex is a gross and subtle continuum. The body is a grossified form of the mind. When I say grossified, I don't mean, ew, it's gross. It means like the lower notes of a piano are grosser than the higher notes of a piano. Ice is a grosser form than water, which is a grosser form than steam. Steam is subtler than water. Water is subtler than ice. It's vibrational. Is everybody clear on that? Yep. So the difference between the mind and the body has to do with a vibrational nature, but it's one continuum. So if you are involved in a 12-step group, they'll say, act your way into right thinking, behavior modification. If you're a metaphysician, think your way into right action. Yoga says, yes, both are powerful because they're not really different in the end. Do both. So now we're going to talk about the sukshma sharira, the subtle body. And let's go through the elements of it. So we had a list here. So Sound, will you, what's the first idea?
5 pranas.
5 pranas. So prana is not breath. Prana is the vital energy. Anybody here studied a martial art? What do you do? What kind?
Kung Fu.
Kung Fu. That doesn't have it in the title. But like if it's Aikido or Tai Chi Chuan, the Ki or the Chi, it's the same as prana. It's the Chinese form of the same thing. It's energy. It's energy. But what the ancients learned is you can begin to control the bioenergy through controlling the breath. So there are 5 pranas, well, a bunch of vayu, they call them, the 5 airs, which govern various things. So the first one is the main prana, which is the inhalation. Then there's apana, which is exhalation. And some texts also put excretion in there. Prana, apana, samana, circulation. Is that right?
Mhm.
I always get these two confused. Samana is circulation, the circulation of the blood and the lymph system as well in the body. Vyana is digestion, what moves the nutrients in and around the body. The last one is really cool, Udana, which governs thinking. So, for example, almost every religious tradition in some form suggests periods of prayer and fasting. What's the benefit of fasting? Or the question, what's the difference between a fast and a diet? With a fast, if you deprive the body of its fuel, the pranas sink to the center, they get conserved, and the udana starts to slow down. So, any of you who've done a long meditation retreat, the food was probably less food and pure food than you normally eat. Isn't that so?
Mhm.
Yes? No?
Okay.
Why? It helps the udana. The thinner the mind, the clearer you can see what's going on. I don't know, with this group, I've talked about the word vipassana in the Pali. In Sanskrit, it's vipassana. So drish pashyati is the root, which means to see. Vipassana means to really see what's going on inside. That's what the word literally means.
Okay.
Yeah. That's obvious when you think of it, but that's what vipassana is. So you slow down enough to see what's really going on. That's what you do. Now, Udana also has the ejection button. When death approaches and the karma of the body is all worn out, it is the Udana that goes whoosh, and moves the subtle body out of the physical body. Udana is also the prana at work when we meditate. Now listen very carefully. Socrates would call meditation philosophy. And he said, what else is philosophy but practicing dying? What else is meditation but practicing dying? I withdraw my attention from the body. I withdraw it from the prana. I withdraw it from the feelings. I withdraw it from thoughts. I withdraw it from the ego sense. Who am I? Practicing dying. All right, so the Panchavayu, the 5 pranas, we've gone through those. Next idea,
The 10 organs.
10 organs. Okay, in yoga, I think we talked about this last week. Did we talk about 5 organs of action, 5 organs of knowledge?
No.
I think that was in Gita we did that. So we don't talk about just 5 sense organs. We have what's called Jnanendriyas or sometimes Buddhindriyas, which are the organs of knowledge. And we have Karmendriyas, or the organs of action. What are the 5 organs of knowledge? Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. Information in. What are the organs of action? Hands, feet, tongue, anus, and genitals. Energy out.
Mm.
So that's human activity. Now, why do we locate these in the subtle body and not in the physical body? Ooh, you're at a dream this week.
Huh.
What did you dream?
A lot of things.
Give us a brief synopsis if it isn't X-rated.
Okay. My last dream, I see myself fighting with someone.
Okay. Could you see him?
Yeah, then
Yeah. So you had sight in the dream. Did you punch him?
Yes,
Okay. You had the sense of touch.
yes,
And you had activity,
yes.
hands, all that. So you had all those sense perceptions in the dream. So what yoga says is actually the senses are in the subtle body, but they function through the physical body in the waking state. It's kind of like it's Halloween and you get a Richard Nixon mask. And in the Richard Nixon mask, there's eye holes and a mouth hole. Put on the Richard Nixon mask. And you can see through the eye holes. You can go, through the tongue. But there are no real senses in the mask. And I can prove this to you. Corpses can't see, hear, taste, touch, smell. And if you're in deep sleep, you don't have any of those perceptions. It's only when the mind is functioning through the body in the waking state. All right, next idea.
The mind and intellect.
What is the mind? Now, different texts parse mind and intellect differently. You don't need to get all caught up in the actual definitions. To keep it simple, the word, by the way, in Sanskrit is manas. So, for example, the English word man is not a reference to genitalia. The root is manusya. It's a Sanskrit word which comes from manas. A man is a thinking being. Now, half of the human race are a special kind of thinking being who have a womb. They are a womb man, woman. That's the etymology. Now you can, if you don't like the word man, you can use the word person, which means mask. Knock yourself out. Very interesting, big word. So manas, it's the place where feelings happen, where judgment happens. It's literally how we create our world. The world is the mind is the world. And it's so obvious in our polarized political environment. One person's world is so different than another person's world. And it's the mind that creates it. Buddhi, intellect. This is cooler. It's a place where thought happens. And it's where our spiritual ignorance is. It's in the Buddhi. When that spiritual ignorance is gone, that Buddhi becomes awake. It becomes Buddha. That's what the dude's name. It's a description of an awakened mind, Buddha. Interesting. So the way I like to look at it is this way. If I'm out at the beach and I'm looking out to the ocean and I see something white, direct perception, then the intellect comes in and wants to determine the thatness, the suchness of it. Is it a buoy? Is it a ship? Is it a sailboat? Oh, it's a sailboat. Then the mind comes in. Oh, I love sailing. I remember sailing with my dad when we would go to Catalina. Oh, those were some of my happiest childhood moments. Oh, yes, to be out on the ocean. Gee, it would be nice to go sailing again. I love sailing. Mind, creating the world for us. So that three-step process happens almost instantaneously. But you go to an infant, if an infant, it doesn't focus its eyes. Who told it it's supposed to focus its eyes? It has to be taught that. You put the mobile above the crib so the kid starts to focus. You know, it doesn't know right and wrong, icky and bad. Everything goes in the mouth or on in their hair. You know, we learn all this other stuff. So whether it's mind or whether it's intellect, don't worry about it. If it's a thought, if it's a feeling, it's a memory, it's an image, it doesn't matter. The point that Shankar's getting at is it's an object of cognition. It's what's most important. Next idea.
The sailboat is, or the experience of perceiving the sailboat?
Say again.
You said the object of cognition.
Whether it's a feeling or a thought, both are objects of cognition.
Gotcha.
So we can prove it. What are you feeling right now?
Morose.
Okay, morose. Are you aware of the moroseness?
Mhm.
Now think the thought 2 + 2.
Okay.
So in a way, you see them both in the same way. The feeling has more movement, you know, stuff like that. Now, if you were all full of joy and happiness, you would see that in the same way you see the moroseness. They're both objects of awareness. Is that clear?
Mhm.
So who or what is it who knows those feelings? But you know the feelings and you know the thoughts, basically with the same dynamic. That's the most important point. Good question. Anything else? Okay, next idea.
I think that's it. From the rudimentary elements.
So this is the same earth, air, fire, water, and ether. Remember last week we hooked them all up with perception, but they're at a subtle level, not a gross level. So the sensations you were feeling in the fight, they appear just like if you were in the waking state, but they're not really. They're just thoughts. They're not as gross or dense as the waking state were. Going on. Next verse.
Anad Vidya Nirvachaya Karanopadi Ruchate Upadi Tritayad Anyamat Upadi Tritayad Anyamatmanam Mavada Rayet.
It's gnarly Sanskrit, yeah.
He taught me earlier, but I forgot. Avidya, which is indescribable and beginningless, is the causal body. Know for certain that the Atman is other than these three conditioning bodies, upadis.
Yes. So upadi just means equipment, a robot. So now he's addressing what we call the karana sharira, the causal body. What is it? It's what we experience in deep sleep. So, Paolo, what do you do for a living?
Electrician.
You're an electrician. So you don't wake up as a chef the next day.
No.
At night, you go to sleep as an electrician, but in deep sleep, your mind is all folded up into pure ignorance. But the next day, you wake up as an electrician. So the mind is in a seed form in deep sleep. All the potentiality is still there. It's not gone. It's all wrapped up into pure ignorance. But the scriptures call it a causal state because the cause of all my thought, feeling, and activity is there. And there's a continuity from day to day. It's pure ignorance. What do I know about deep sleep? I don't know. I know nothing. In fact, you can't even have the thought, I know nothing. It's, oh, I must have slept soundly. I don't remember a thing. You see. So that's called the avyakta, the unmanifest. It's called pure ignorance, avidya. It's where all the seed impressions are, and it's called the causal body. So these three, the gross body, the subtle body, and the causal body, are the conditionings, the equipment, and they are not self. Now, what I like to do at this point is talk a little bit about reincarnation, because it's a subject that a lot of people, well, does the self reincarnate? Who's kind of wondered about that and stuff like that. So the cup is like the physical body. The water in the cup is like the subtle body. Sometimes I'll have tea with a tea bag in it. So the tea is like the subtle body. The tea bag is like the causal body. You are like the space in the cup. So if your physical body is like the cup and it gets old and worn out,
Chemical.
that's reincarnation. So there's a relative continuity in mortality from physical body to physical body, just like when I poured the liquid from one cup into another.
But this ends one day or no? Never ends.
Yes, it does. With self-realization, the cause of incarnation is done. The cause of incarnation, the body is inherently an instrument for the garnering of experience or the satisfaction of desire. As long as I'm still under the influence of ignorance, I have this what we call jiva bhavana. I feel like a person. I'm identified with my ego. And it always has the feeling I'm not enough, there's not enough. Maybe if I had a different job, maybe if I had a different relationship, maybe if I had more money, maybe if I lived in a different city, I'll be happy when, it'll be better if. That's the impulse that keeps moving the subtle body forward from body to body. Now, you don't need to believe in reincarnation. You can use it as a metaphor for just one life. So, where did you grow up?
In Brazil,
Brazil. How'd you get here?
traveling
Why?
because I'm searching for a better life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In other words, there was the Brazilian incarnation, and then impelled by desire, now you're in the US.
Yes.
God only knows what's going to happen. You know. So you had, as it were, the incarnation of your childhood. Maybe you went to university, another incarnation. You were single and you got married, another incarnation. Two incomes, no kids, and you have a baby, another incarnation. And all these things go from, all that changes is the environment. I can remember this one person who's just really wanted to get married. He was talking to another one of my students who was married. Said so and so, is it better being married? This person said, not really, just different. But that's what it always is. But as long as we labor under the idea, it's out there. I either need to fix the world or fix me. Then the whole karma chakra, wheel of karma, continues. It's also called samsara. I think the Buddhists use that word too. Does that make it clearer? So when we destroy the cause of incarnation, which is I'm finally at peace. Who's heard the word nirvana? I think we had it in this text earlier. Literally means blown out. So it means that jonesing. I'll be happy when the Krishna is one of the words I've heard Buddhists use. Thirsting, kama, craving, vancha, wanting, raga, I must have it this way, dvesha, aversion, you all are idiots. All of that. First noble truth, life the way most people live it sucks. Dukkha satyam. Samudaya satyam. How does it arise? It is craving. It is attachment. Freedom from craving, freedom from attachment is freedom from suffering. Ordinary person experiences all the time. When I go to bed at night, my mind shuts down. All my craving is gone. And momentarily, when I satisfy a desire, but it just comes right back. Then the question is, can you be permanently free from suffering? The Buddha said, yes. Marga Satyam, the truth of the Eightfold Path. Yoga says exactly the same thing through sadhana, through knowledge of the self, direct experience. It's the end of suffering. All right. Any other thoughts on this? Next verse.
Panchakoshadi yogena tattanmaya iva stitha sudhatma Neelavastradi Yogena Spatiko Yatha. In its identifications with the five sheets, the immaculate Atman appears to have borrowed their qualities upon itself, as in the case of a crystal which appears blue or yellow, depending upon the cloth in the color of the cloth in its vicinity.
So you get a piece of quartz and you are in either the jewelers or you're at the crystal shop. And they've got a blue piece of velvet or a red piece of velvet. And you put the crystal on one piece of velvet, the crystal looks blue, it looks red, but it's really clear. Now listen carefully. The confusion does not take place in the cell. The confusion takes place in the mind. What is the confusion? Let's parse this first. So, first part of it.
In its identifications with the five sheets.
Okay, this is just another map. We did one before with the three bodies, the gross body, subtle body, causal body. Now Shankara makes reference to what's called the Panchakosha, the five sheets. Just another way of talking about it. And I'll go through them briefly. First is the Annamaya Kosha. Anna means cooked rice. So he calls the physical body here the food sheath. What does it do? What does a body do? It consumes a mountain of food and produces a mountain of poop. From the time you're born to the time you die, you just munch your way to the tomb. And eventually the body is food for worms. That's what a body is. Pranamaya kosha, the energy body. We went into a little bit about talking about the energy. But you know whether the energy is moving or where. Manomaya kosha, the mental sheet. We talked about this with the subtle body. It creates the world. Vijnanamaya kosha, the intellectual sheath, which has the buddhi, but also in the Vijnanamaya kosha is what they call karta, meaning the sense of agency. In the intellectual sheath, that's where I attribute to myself the qualities of the not self. That's where I fundamentally think I am the body, or the body plus the personality. And the Anandamaya kosha, the bliss sheath, pure ignorance, it's the same thing as the causal body and the last thing. So the whole point he's getting at here, what's the next thing he says? This is the
The immaculate Atman appears to have borrowed their qualities.
yes. So it's this adhyasa, the superimposition. Even though if I look at it and analyze it, I see, no, the body's an object of cognition. I am not the body. If I go looking for some entity called Jim, as if it were a solid thing, I can't find it. All I can find is feelings, thoughts, memories, impulses. But all of those are objects of cognition. They're not the subject. So, in the Vijnana Maya Kosha, in the intellect, and this is deeply rooted, we've been doing it for lifetimes, I attribute to myself the qualities of the not self. So the vipassana, the insight that I need, slow down enough, continue to do this discrimination. And when the mind throws up a personal sense of self, analyze it, investigate it. It's not so much that we need to go through some heroic process to find the self. What we need to do is disidentify from the not-self. It's the mind's ignorance which stands in the way. And how do I get free from it? Through investigation, through seeing what really is. Any thoughts on this? Now, it's a little easier to do in your meditation seat. In your meditation, whatever arises, to whom did this occur? To me. Who am I? No personal thought of self is real. If I think I'm good or bad or successful, and even the subtler ones, this is when you've been on the path for a while, ego is so subtle. I'm advancing spiritually. Who thinks they're advancing? Ego. Or enlightenment seekness. Oh, I think I have it now. I know the self. Who is it who thinks they know the self? Ego. Drop it. Drop it. No personal sense of self is real. If I think I'm a person, I'm deluded. If I think I'm a person, a goal will appear, and struggle towards that goal will arise. Always. And it seems so real. Mind says resolve that struggle. Yoga says drop the struggler. See the inherent unreality of a personal sense of self. All right, next one.
Vapustu shad Vapustu shadibhi koshai yuktam yuktya vaghatata atmanamantaram shuddham vivicya tantulam yatha. Through discriminative self-analysis and logical thinking, one should separate the pure self within from the sheaths, as one separates the rice from the husk, bran, and so on that are covering it.
So the word that we have for investigation is vichara. The root is vich, which actually has the meaning to winnow, to separate the wheat from the chaff. So what he's saying here, our job is to practice this subject-object discrimination, to separate my sense of self, with a capital S, from the upadis, the equipment. Now, when I look at a paper cup, it's real clear I'm not a paper cup. If a feeling goes by, it's pretty clear I'm not a feeling. My thoughts, I know my thought. But the ego thought is so luminous, so subtle. It's the subtlest part of us. To be able to discriminate between the real self, and the shadow self, ahankara, takes an incredibly subtle and still mind. So we do it the best we can in our meditation seat. But then as we move through the day, don't worry too much if you have a trigger. I got triggered here, I got triggered there. Just notice them, notice them. To whom did they occur? To me, Koham, who am I? Remember, I'm that witnessing consciousness. This is the most direct path. And what keeps me from being able to stay identified with that? Attachment and identification. I-ness and minus. That pulls the mind. Over and over and over again. You don't have to necessarily change what you're doing, but see it for what it is. When I was doing my sadhana in the ashram way back in 1975, my nickname for my mind was Mudha. Mudha means fool. So I'd be moving through the world and I'd find myself wanting. That age, I was terribly afflicted with lust. Oh, wow. Wanted it. And then I'd go, Mudha. There I am, stuck wanting again. Or some of it's all about other people. If only they would do it differently. Anybody have that one? I'm irritated because they're not doing life right. But it's still the same dynamic. I have a desire and it sucks. It's the kama, the craving itself that hurts. Now, most of us experience this practice all the time. The clearest one is traffic. Have you ever had an appointment and you've been on the freeway and traffic backs up and you're going to be late and you're gripping the steering wheel and you're trying to push the traffic with your heart? Anybody ever done that? Oh, I'm going to be late. Anybody ever have that feeling? You're all upset. And then you just, you get out your phone, you text your friend, caught in traffic, I'm going to be 20 minutes late. And then you go, and you let it go. Who's had that feeling? Yeah, the traffic didn't change. What changed?
Good night.
I let go of the struggling. I let go of the attachment, the sangraha. I let go of the kama, the craving. I let go of the dvesha, the aversion.
Control.
Yeah, these are all different names for the same issue. Ignorance says, take a baseball bat to the world. Yoga says, drop the struggle. Play with this. Play with this. Now, the impressions of craving are incredibly strong. But the only way to be truly free from them, it's not through some moral position. It's only through insight. When I really see that it's the craving itself that's making me miserable, then I can begin to start letting it go. Probably one of the most vivid examples in our modern world. If you have friends that you may know who are caught up in addiction or alcoholism, they may be absolutely convinced if you had my problems, you'd drink too. They don't see the cause of their problems. And finally, when they're open to the idea, put the plug in the jug, put the pipe down, see what happens. Then they see the cause and effect relationship. That's only a gross and socially inappropriate form of the whole phenomenon of spiritual ignorance. That's all it is. All right, next one,
Like, Jim, can I ask a quick question?
please.
So I think I asked this kind of before, but like sometimes the phenomenal world is the solution to the problem. So, for example, if you haven't had a cup of water for 24 hours and you're really thirsty, isn't a cup of water going to be the answer to that problem for you?
It can be. And my question is, how's that deal with your next bout of thirstiness?
What do you mean?
Well, it's always temporary. Anything in the world is temporary. But most people don't slash their wrists because they don't have a cup of water. You certainly don't. You know, I mean, most people, what afflicts them is not the Maslow survival needs.
Mhm.
I'm not saying, though, of course there are people who that, and then the spiritual life is probably not available to most of them. For them, God is bread. For God is a cup of water. But that's not why people jump off the bridge. You know, that's not why people go to the psychiatrist.
Saying the experience of thirst.
Pardon me?
You're saying the experience of thirst is the focus more so than the cup of water satisfying the thirst.
Well, I mean, it's just that most of us in this room, virtually all of us, are not dealing with life at the level of survival. So it's moot for us. But that doesn't mean we don't suffer. Why am I suffering? And the great Eastern traditions say it's craving, it's attachment, it's compulsion, it's identification with a phony self, fake news, a self that doesn't even really exist. And so we have to have an entire reality paradigm shift in order to get some peace of mind. First lesson in the art of meditation class I give. Watch your mind. Notice what it feels like to want something you don't have. That is the essence of suffering. Raga, I don't have what I want. Dvesha, I can't get rid of what I don't like. Bhaya, fear, I got what I want, but I'm afraid I'm going to lose it. My lovely stepsister. It's a warm day, Southern California. They're out by the pool, 80 degrees. But she's just horrified at the headline. We're doomed, we're doomed, we're doomed, we're doomed. We may be. But she lives in a beautiful house with a lovely husband, and there's food in the refrigerator, and she's gonna hit the pool and go swimming. Where is her suffering?
In her head.
Yeah. Bye. All right, what verse are we on?
It's 17.
13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, one more, then we can quit.
Sada sarvagato pyatma na sarvatra vabhasate buddha vabhaseta swacheshu pratibimbavat. The Atman does not shine in everything, although it is all-pervading. It manifests only in the inner equipment, the intellect, buddhi, just as the reflection in a clean mirror.
Yes, so a bimba is a mirror, a pratibimba is the reflection in a mirror. So you have to understand Shankara's writing, 788 to 820. Mirrors were not silvered glass. Mirrors were polished metal. So if you've got a silver mirror and the surface is tarnished, you can't see your reflection. So also for most of us, even though everybody has the direct experience of the self, nobody actually ever doubts that they are. But I do not have the knowledge of it. I cannot enjoy it. I cannot get the relief, the peace in my mind because of it. Because my mirror is tarnished. So I polish the mirror to the various practices. The chief one here, through investigation into my self nature. Till the mind gets still, quiet. When the mind has become purified, chitta shuddhi. Just for a moment, listen to the traffic. I'd like to say, you just put your thumb on your mind. Just let it be still. Who or what hears the traffic? You see, there's nobody there. There's nothing there. Yet that no thingness shines as the light of pure awareness. The Chidakasha, the space, the sky, consciousness itself. Where did the person go? I have this problem, and they did this to me, and what self is that? tune up the mind, notice the knower, and where did it go? Gone. Because it wasn't anything real. All right, we'll end here tonight. Oh.